Alrighty, making a video. The other one yesterday got abruptly cut off because I accidentally touched the button. I should never have the mouse arrow on that red button, because then just a light touch on the mouse pad will click this off. I have to make sure that this arrow is always beyond that red button, so far beyond the other side of the whole monitor. That would be the best. That's what I'm doing now. So yeah, I'm waiting for Paul. He's getting ready, he's taking a shower. We're going to the other house. We're not going to stay very long. We're going to stay maybe for 3 days in the California house where we have internet. And then we're going to be coming back because they're going to be starting the construction of the deck breaking off, and they're going to be cutting the deck, the broken parts off, and they're going to put a security board up there. So just for now. And so whatever people want to do with this later on in the future, that's up to them. I don't recommend to put up a balcony at all. It's just not safe. This is a flimsy kind of construction that they did in 1983. Okay, so I would never do something like this. Some kind of open standing balcony that goes all the way halfway around the house and only stands on a very narrow, like what is it, 8 by 8 or something. That's not strong enough on one side. You have to have really, really large columns that hold that up, like that are spaced apart at least in a distance of, I don't know, at least every 15 feet or 20 feet, so not wider apart, because it has to be supported. So it's very important. People, they cut corners. They don't care about what happens in the future. They don't care about the consequences. This should be a house should be constructed like a bridge. When you do bridge construction, and you have to really know what kind of materials you use. You have to use a lot of steel and a lot of cement for that. And the same should go into a residential home. Steel and cement. Okay, not wood. No. Don't build with wood. It rots, it gets eaten by insects, termites, gets eaten by mold, it's water damage. I don't recommend pressure treating wood at all. You can't even work with that very well, and then it gets too condensed and hardened. I don't recommend working with wood at all, not at all. So we want to work with steel and cement. That's the way to go. There's one bridge over there nearby that is absolutely stunning. We used to go there with, I think we took Kenny there, and we took the Papa dog there. We took him there just not long ago. We drove under the bridge, but we didn't get out. The homeless people have trashed that place completely. It's very sad. So they always go under bridges, and then instead of appreciating a place like, oh, this is a present from the infinite cosmos, a bridge giving me protection from the elements. No, they don't appreciate it. They just they camp out there, and then they leave everything behind, just the way they packed everything out and littered everything, and then they leave everything behind. And that's happening also at hot springs, at wild hot springs, which are divine, precious presents for us, you know. And then people, it's the baby dog. He likes it, yes, he likes it. Baby dog likes this. Oh, he likes this. Oh, he likes this. Oh, yes, he likes it. It's nice and warm. The cement is nice and warm. That feels good. Oh, yeah. And also the cement scratches his back. That feels really, really good. So when I see something like this, you know, I value whatever I find. You know, I find a rock or I find a bridge and I take photos, or I just sit there for an hour in the van and look at the river and the scenery, and I appreciate it, and I never ever leave anything, any cookie crumb behind or package or whatever. I put everything carefully into our trash can that we have in the van, and that trash can is secured on the side, on the other side, not by the door, okay, where the stuff doesn't fall out. But other people don't think in this way. They just, I think a lot of people, they just throw their trash on the floor in their cars or vans or trucks, and then when they open the door, naturally that stuff flies out into the environment, and it pollutes, it litters, and it's just not nice. It's rude, and it's not, that's not stewardship. That's not taking care of our planet. Okay, this is our planet. This is our Mother Earth. We have to take good care of her. Okay, we are the stewards. Every single person is the steward of this Mother Earth, Earth ship, you know, that carries us through millennia. And in the past, before they had packaging materials, in the past people would just throw something out because whatever they threw out was biodegradable, and it would biodegrade and stuff like that. So today people have packaging materials and wrapping and stuff like this, and that does not biodegrade. There are very, very few companies that use biodegradable packaging materials that look like plastic, but if you touch it, you can feel it. You can feel it that it feels different to plastic. Obviously, you know, plastic has this surface that feels like, yeah, it's polymer, you know, it is a very condensed raw oil derivative that had been heated and that doesn't biodegrade, obviously. But there are some few companies, very rare though, who are making packaging materials and all kinds of materials out of biodegradable plastics that actually have been made by a bacteria that was specifically developed in a laboratory. So it was specifically created. I think they were experimenting. I don't know if they did gene splicing with it, or they just bred it selectively into this direction. I don't know. Well, that's really fantastic. A bacterium that eats garbage and poops out a plastic material, but it's not a polymer, of course, you know. It's just something that can be made into, that can be processed into sheets like that, into what feels like plastic. And it's also water resilient and it's waterproof up to a certain amount of days. So if it's left out in a forest, it will stay there for, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, and then it starts to disintegrate into the forest ground, because it is made by bacteria and it's natural because of that. It's bio-waste because of that. One could even put it into a compost bin, but I wouldn't do this. I don't think I would. I think we would just keep on using these things, like they make dishes out of that stuff, and they make forks and spoons and knives out of that stuff. And I like it because if it does get thrown out and littered out, then eventually it will decompose, while the other stuff doesn't, and that's a real problem, okay, for this planet. The other 99.999% of trash that does not biodegrade. So most people are also not educated. Paul got mad at me when I said that. He said, "You're making excuses for people. A good person would not throw that out there." But I have to say to this, yeah, maybe that is the case. Maybe someone who's very conscious about these things would not throw that out there. But people are also not educated. They're not informed about environmentalism, environmental stewardship. Matter of fact is the corporate agenda, as always, they have their dirty filaments in any kind of influencing institution. Okay. It starts with religions. They have their fingers in the religions big time, I can tell. But we had a realtor before. I love him very much. It's very, very dear friend and everything. He's a fundamentalist Christian though, but I'm not judging him on it, but he gets all of his information from that. And guess what happens? And that's how I put these puzzle pieces together. That's how I know that the corporate agenda is telling religions what to tell their followers. Okay. They actually tell religions, particularly the evangelical Christian church, they tell these institutions and ministers, I don't know how they do it, I think through talk radio probably, that are evangelical, so that have the label evangelical on it. And then all these people that identify themselves, that's why Jiddu Krishnamurti warned us about identifying ourselves with any kind of institution or nation or religion. You are not your religion. You are a living being. Just like that, okay? And you're an animal. You are a mammal. You're a being. You are a child of this planet. You don't need to identify yourself with a religion or nation. You don't even have to identify yourself with this planet. You can just say, I live here on this planet. I evolved here. And I'm grateful for this planet. Now let's show our gratitude towards the planet, and not go by whatever religion that you happen to go to, what they are telling you, or the other people, or whatever peer pressure, whatever the entire group consensus is drilling into you. You have to question that, of course. Question it all, every single thing. I know it doesn't feel good to the ego, but that's what you have to do. That's your duty to this planet and to the other species that are our cousins and they're our children, okay? We are the custodians. We have arms and legs and hands and a very specific brain. That's not the highest evolved brain on this planet. Okay, there are brains that are more evolved. I would say the elephant brain is more evolved. The elephant brain is not just larger. The elephant brain is also larger in body-brain ratio. They have more spindle cells. And the dolphin's brain is larger. Also larger in terms of body-brain ratio than the human body-brain ratio. So, and they have more spindle cells. And then there are the large whales, and they're way, way more evolved than humans. Way more. They have way, way larger brains, also way larger in body-brain ratio. Bigger head also in the entire, compared to the body. Huge brain. Okay. Humongous. And there's a lot going on in those brains. The difference is they live in the medium water. They don't have hands. They don't create weapons. They don't create motor vehicles and stuff like that. They're not creating, they're not engineering anything because they don't have hands. Okay. If they had hands, can you imagine what they would be doing? They would be doing all kinds of amazing stuff. They wouldn't create weapons. They would draw hearts. They're already drawing hearts. They already are. There are dolphins in the water that are creating shapes out of air bubbles in the water. And they play with those air bubbles, and they make rings out of them, and hearts and stuff like that. They're very creative. If you give them toys to play with, they will align them in a specific way. This is very artistic. Okay, there's a lot going on there. And there's true intelligence also going on, according to Jiddu Krishnamurti. Intelligence that is a bottom-up intelligence, that is bottom-up processing, that uses their own creativity to make something out of that what they have learned. The stuff they learn from the outside environment, they don't download it in a rigid way. So they learn it. This is a top-down processing. But then they have that information, and then they do a bottom-up processing with that information that they have learned. And that's the creative process. Okay, so they're not just copying someone else. They play with that what someone else did. They take that what someone else did. They might even pull it out of proportions, or they pull whatever they see in the environment out of proportions in terms of art. And that's true art. Okay? That is what Jiddu Krishnamurti calls real intelligence. Yes, there's my baby dog. He is really happy. Oh yes, and we're going hiking today. We're going to the beach, to the ocean. It's gonna be nice. Oh yeah, it's gonna be really, really good. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, by the way, this is my new sweater. My new sweater. It's nice. Nice. And it comes all the way over the hips. Okay, I finished it the other day, but I realized I made the décolleté too deep, so if I don't have something underneath, then it shows all the way down. And I can't go out to the street like this. I'm wearing a sports bra now underneath, so that also is important for me when I go out to the street, but I also had to put the tank top underneath, so to look a little bit more I don't know, polite, maybe we could call it that way. So because I would never go out to the street in something provocative. I would also feel too shy, and I would feel embarrassed because I'm not a provocative type of person. So, but this sweater I definitely made this at least 5 inches too low, so it should have come to here, and would have been more like this, more like the other ones that I made. But the other ones I didn't make very low. So the other ones come up to here, sort of. So I should make it to here. So, but I'm learning from each sweater. I'm learning, and there's another sweater that I'm going to that has a hole underneath because this part was a little bit too tight. So the seams broke. So I have to repair this, and I'm also going to use that other sweater as the template for my next sweater that I'm making. But this one's pretty neat. So this is a little bit loose here, kind of a little bit flared, but it looks okay. It's not bad. Yeah, this is kind of sort of okay. Yeah, maybe could be just a little bit tighter here, a little bit more snug on the arm like this, but other than that it's pretty good. This part here is kind of loose, which is comfortable, of course, particularly comfortable to sleep in and stuff like this, but seems a little bit on the loose side, so I can make this also a little bit tighter on both sides. So, but I'm learning from this. I like my sweaters snug, but not too pressing into the fat. So that's how I like them. That's my style. I'm also experimenting with this part here. I'm making this a little bit farther in now, more like they used to do this in the past, and still some people are doing it. I think it looks better. It looks more feminine if this part is farther cut out and the arm comes farther in over the shoulder. I have naturally quite wide shoulders, actually. People used to make fun of me for that. And so if I have if I have this part here that comes out to here, then my shoulders look actually much wider. This makes it look a little bit better, I think so. So I also have very strong muscles in my arms and shoulders, and naturally, so that's just how I am. And in my legs too, I have Neanderthal legs. The exactly like the calves like the Neanderthals had. I'm sure I have like 4% Neanderthal. Probably do. You can see it also in the face a little bit. I recognize myself in those Neanderthal drawings. So Bill Clinton has a real high percentage, I think like 5%. I think Paul Watson has a real high percentage also, like at least 5% or 6%. That's pretty cool to have Neanderthal in you. But the Cro-Magnon, the nomads that came from the Middle East and Africa that have gone into Northern Europe, they have butchered almost all of the Northern Europeans, which were in the past Neanderthals. So, and they were light-skinned and blonde. They had blonde hair. Obviously, my hair is just bleached. I don't have blonde hair, I have dark brown hair. So that's from the Cro-Magnon, of course. Yeah, no, they butchered most of them, and they took some of the women, and then because of that, we have a small percentage. The Europeans have a small percentage of Neanderthal left, but most of them are Cro-Magnon. They took over, and in a violent way, and that's really terrible. So sad, but it's evolution, What can you do? the Neanderthals were very intelligent. They had larger brains, but they weren't as violent, and they didn't have very good spear throwing abilities. They were not, I don't know, they were strong, but they didn't have what they used to throw spears at that time. And the Cro-Magnon, they were able to throw the spears much farther, and they had skinnier spears that they threw, and with that they had the upper hand, and they exterminated the Neanderthals, which is very, very sad. Yes, you see my everything. Oh yes, you my everything. So I'm waiting for Paul to get ready now. There are the rhododendron coming out now. I don't know if it shows. They're coming out now, some of them. The flowers, the very nice pink flowers are coming out on this one here. And then throughout the summer, then the other colors are coming out one after another. And then once they're all out, it is a paradise of epic proportions. I'm going to have to take a photo again. I'm going to have to take several photos, and I'm going to have to film this, or maybe from up high. I don't know, maybe from the upper window. Looks really, really good. So I'm really worried about that greenhouse on the upper balcony. So because that has fallen apart, and there are some metal beams that I told Paul to take off the balcony, and he didn't listen to me. And now they're still standing there, and I said this can completely impale someone. That can go through someone's brain if that falls from that level down to the parking lot. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want this risk, so I have to remind myself when he comes out of the shower, when we're getting ready to go, that he moves these beams off the balcony, because I don't want that to be standing there. They were lying on the balcony on sideways, and that was already very risky. And I told him to secure those, and then he just stands them up vertically against the side of the house. And that's even more risky, because any wind can then fly them over and off the balcony. And that's really, really dangerous. That can hurt an animal or person. So he's always worried about getting sued. I mean, that's like... That's very reckless to handle things. He's very reckless with a lot of things, where I have to tell him that he has to secure things better, and he has to be more careful. I have to constantly remind him of this, and that's kind of annoying. It's very annoying, but it is what it is. This is how he is, and I have to accept that is how he is, and I have to just try to remind him. I just have to continue to remind him to handle things in a more responsible way. So with everything in life, everything, in the garden, in the house, everything. So what else did I want to talk about? Feels nice here in the garden. I want to appreciate everything that we have. There are wonderful things in our lives, and I would say there is something good in everyone's life. You have to just look at it, look at the good things, and appreciate them, and breathe. To breathe. Very important. And relax the ego, and Whatever bothers you, don't run away from it. Don't struggle with that. Don't struggle this away. You can't struggle it away. Whatever there is, if you're jealous, you're jealous. You can't struggle that away with something just, by whatever, going shopping and dolling yourself up, or wearing expensive clothes, or going under the knife, or that's a total lie, or whatever people do, they always want to make themselves better, or they want to become something, or they want to succeed in something, or they want to have a diploma on the wall. So all of this is neurotic. You can study something for 8 years, but then study this not because you want to have prestige with it, or recognition, or praise, or getting a girlfriend or boyfriend, or making money. That's the biggest motivating force in humans. No, you study something because you are interested in it. You study astrophysics, for example, because you're fascinated with the night sky and with planets, and you want to find out more. You want to look through a telescope, and you want to look deep into the infinite cosmos. That should be the motivator for that. Not money or prestige, Same goes for if somebody studies medicine. I don't even recommend to people to study medicine, because all you learn is what the pharma industry is telling you to learn, to cater to the pharma industry, and nothing else. They don't even teach people how to actually help someone. Actually helping. So that is such a big subject. My goodness, that subject is huge. I don't want to run the battery down too far. So I can talk about that subject for the rest of my life, non-stop. I can talk about this for 1,000 hours, but I have to eat and go to the bathroom and sleep in between. But I can talk about this for the rest of my life. Okay, more than 1,000 hours. So I don't know. It depends on when I'm being assassinated. I just don't want to suffer, So nobody deserves to suffer, and so that's why that's why I'm very interested in, and I don't call it medicine, I call it natural healing, and it should be called natural healing. I don't know what's going on. Oh, the baby dog went. Baby dog, where did you go? I don't see him. So that's why I am highly, highly interested in natural healing. Natural and healing. Okay, those are the two key words. Not an unnatural and not intervention. So that's what the pharmaceutical industry is all about. They're about intervention, making people sicker, actually, causing more liver toxicity, causing more kidney damage, causing people to be even more tired, more confused in the brain, more gullible for the corporate agenda. All of this goes hand in hand. It is the corporate agenda, the pharma industry. People need to know this. They don't care about someone's health or happiness. The physicians are on the take. They get money for prescribing their drugs. So the physicians are basically bought by the corporate agenda, by the pharma industry. And that's sad. Not all of them, but the vast majority are. Baby dog, come back. Yes, okay, there you are. Yeah. So, I'm pointing this out to people so that they learn about it and so that they pay more attention. There's a hummingbird going into those yellow and orange flowers. Those are amazing flowers there. I don't know if this shows from here. They are yellow and orange flowers, and the hummingbirds are drinking nectar from those. This is so amazing, so cute. Yes, there is my beautiful, beautiful stuffy baby. Yes. So, yeah, and I'm absolutely fascinated with natural healing, and I not only believe in it, I know it. I know that it works because I have tried it on my own body and brain. It works 100%. Okay, I don't go to a physician. The only reason why I would maybe go to a physician is to get prescription glasses, and maybe I'll get prescription orthopedic shoemaker shoes for my heel. My right heel has been hurting because the insoles and the soles of my shoes are just way too hard. Okay. And shoes, like I said before in my videos, this is all part of holistic healing. Okay, if we can make the right shoes with really thick cushioned rubber, bouncy cushioned rubber soles, where you don't even need insoles, or if you put insoles in, that doesn't require a whole big insole, just to put different insoles with knoppies or different, whatever to help someone fit better into the shoes, or if the shoes are too wide or whatever, for that reason. But other than that, shoe soles should be naturally really, really thick and really bouncy and really squishy, so that, and they should be shaped in it should be shaped convex to both sides, like this here, like this, so that when you walk, you're walking like on a whip, and the upper part is also like this. So where your foot is just laid over it like that. Okay. And the bottom whips, and then you walk like on clouds. That's how it should be. MBT and Skechers shape ups, they're going in that direction, but it's not, by far not what I'm looking for. I have actually written petition letters to those companies and asked them to make the shoes like the way I design it, but they're not gonna listen, because they probably laugh about this. They think this is not gonna be looking good, or that's gonna be looking too bulky, or not feminine for the girls, or whatever. So I don't care what any fashion person wants to do. I have to do this. If I had the materials, I would do it. So for that, I would go to an orthopedic surgeon or whatever and ask them for an orthopedic shoemaker shoe prescription. That's the only thing I would do if I go to a physician. I mean, for something that actually helps us, I will not have blood tests done. I have heart problems recently. But as Dr. Richard Scholl said, Dr. Richard Scholl is a naturopath. He is a natural, holistic practitioner. Okay, he has studied on corpses. He has taken these classes and all of that. So, but he has not taken the classes on farmer medicine. So those he skipped because he is into natural. And I wouldn't. Why waste your time with something like this? I was thinking about studying medicine because I'm interested in that. But then medical student guy told me that he was a medical student and they had to work on a corpse, and at some point he just couldn't go there anymore. He refused. He just wouldn't go there anymore to that lab because of the smell. He said the smell, and the corpse didn't even bother him so much, but the smell was just so obnoxious, even though they sterilized the heck out of that corpse, The smell is still obnoxious. A corpse shouldn't be there in a laboratory. The corpse is bio-waste, man. You strip the last shirt off that corpse, and you take the hair clips and whatever they have in there, contact lenses, you take that off, all of that, and you put that thing into a compost, okay? So the soul doesn't mind. Matter of fact is, the soul looks down and says, man, what the heck are they doing there with my body? This is obnoxious. This is an insult to the soul. No, the soul wants the body to have closure. The soul wants the body to go into a compost and be eaten by insects, and they have some areas out there. I saw that also on YouTube. There are some people that sign up to give their corpses after they die. Of course, they give their corpses to forensic research labs, and what they do is they put those onto they have an open courtyard for that. That's not indoors, okay? It's outside, it's in some kind of garden. And then they have a camera, a 24-hour camera that films the decomposition process, because that's how they study how long the decomposition process takes, okay? So, and you can see all the insects and you see it's full of maggots after a while, and the entire corpse is loaded with maggots, and they are wiggling around and they're eating all that stuff. And it's very interesting, But what they really need to do is, which would be way better for the whole world, is because the corpse emits methane gases. Corpse need to be buried 3 feet into the ground. Okay. And then what happened, we did this with both of our former dogs. And then what happens is the earthworms and other, I don't know, I think there's some grubs, they're called grubs, those are worm type of caterpillars that are very large. I think they come to the surface and become very large moths, something like this. They kind of burrow themselves into the ground to eat stuff like this. So those scavenger insects, they go into that and they multiply and they eat the entire carcass in a very short time. That prevents methane gases from leaking out. Okay, this is the natural decomposition process, the way it should be happening on this planet. And there's nothing wrong with it. This is life. Okay, this is actually life. Why prolong death? If you can turn this back into life, that's the way it should be. Okay, forget about your frickin' religion. Forget about this bullshit, all of that. Okay, think about Mother Earth. Okay? That's our mother. This is the air we breathe. We don't want to breathe methane gases or pollute the environment with incinerating corpses. So cremations. This is wrong. It's not good. or embalming a corpse. What a waste of time and creep. Oh, I just can't believe it, what people are doing. Just because they have done that over several generations doesn't mean we have to continue this. Yeah. What people did in the past comes out of fear and religion and tradition, not out of reason. Okay, and that's the truth. So not out of environmental stewardship. So I have to say this is important to say. Yes, you got something on you there. I wonder where that comes from. Were you bitten by something? Let me see some. Oh my goodness, that looks weird. Some saliva on the back. I hope he wasn't bitten. Because he runs after cats and raccoons. And the papa dog has done that and always in this cedar brush. Papa dog. And the papa dog would go underneath. He doesn't go underneath. The papa dog would, because Papa was so low to the ground, he would go underneath that cedar brush and go deep into it, and then there are dens with mamas and babies, and that is not good. Mama gets mad, okay, and there was a cat mama who bit him to protect her babies, and there was a bobcat. They're much larger than house cats. They're like 3 times the size of a house cat. Bobcat with big fangs bit him in the back, all the way on the top of the back. Big hole. And we didn't even see that at first. So it coagulated fast. His hair was very, very dense. His hair covered that up. He had like an undercoat and an overcoat. We didn't even see it. And then he played with the little dog, and the little dog was jumping on him, and that made him upset. And now later on we figured out why, because the little dog was actually jumping on that sore. And so I took him to a lake, and because it was hot, and I poured water over him to cool him off out in the desert. That was just like 2 days after he had been bitten. We didn't see it here, and then it was out in the desert, all the way out in the desert, where I poured that water, that really sacred water, on his body, and then that water revealed that wound, and I was shocked. Oh my gosh, the hair had even fallen out right around that wound, but the other hair was covering that up. So the water exposed this, and the top layer of the scab came off through the water, but it showed that the wound was actually infected. But I was glad that I was able to detect that even. Oh my goodness, I felt so sorry for the papa dog. Papa hadn't feeling good also for 2 days, for those 2 days, and I was wondering what was going on. So Paul put Dr. Richard Schulze's anti-infection formula on it, a couple of drops, which contains garlic, oil, and cayenne pepper. It burns a little bit, but it's highly disinfecting, and it gets rid of any kind of pathogen. And then I packed it up with hydrated sodium bentonite clay on top, really, really fat on it, like hands full of that stuff, packed that on. Every day I put more on. So, and then it hardened, and it created a natural Band-Aid that was very, very powerful for him. And as soon as we did this, as soon as I put the hydrated sodium bentonite clay on that wound, he felt a whole lot better. He was like sighing in relief. Yeah, the pain was gone immediately. Hydrated sodium bentonite clay, put on any kind of wound, on any kind of thing, is an instant pain relief for the body. It's really, this stuff is amazing. And then it healed up beautifully underneath, so in just a couple of weeks. And that was a bobcat bite with a big fang that went all the way in and probably this deep into his back. And the hydrated sodium bentonite clay, it draws all the impurities, all the pus, all the pathogens out. It gives it nutrients. It soothes the wound. It takes all the inflammation away in a very short time, and it heals up in a very short time. It's amazing. You don't even have to put the anti-infection formula on it because that kind of stings. But Paul insists on that, and that always helps. That's an additional help. So it's really good. That's natural healing. Okay, all of that. That's real natural healing. That's not going to a veterinarian or a physician where they will cut it even wider open. I was bitten by a dog. The other hand, this one here. And in Germany a long time ago, I still have a scar there. And I should not have gone to the hospital. It's like almost like we're brainwashed to go to the hospital. It's the first reaction we have. I should not have done it. I could have made this look a whole lot better. This would have healed up way better if I had just put hydrated sodium bentonite clay on it. The scar would be minimal, okay? You wouldn't even see the scar if I had put hydrated sodium. There are two bite marks, here and here. A big one here and a small one here. From a giant schnauzer, someone else's dog who was fighting with my mother's dog, and I was stupid and I was trying to get my mother's dog away from him, pulling him by the collar, and then the other dog with me in the hand, while I had my hand while I grabbed onto my mother's dog's collar. And I was shocked, and the dog was shocked too. Everyone was shocked, and the dogs were not fighting anymore. They were in a serious fight. They were not fighting anymore. I didn't say anything. I was just shocked. The energy of me being shocked that the dog bit me shocked everyone. The dogs and the guy and me. And that was right in front of my parents' gate. On that, I met that was an acquaintance of my parents who was always taking his dog for a walk there. But then he took me to the hospital. And that's what everyone was drilled to believe. That's what you have to do, And I should not have done it. I should have said, thanks, that's okay, I'm a holistic person. That was a long time ago. I was still naive. So today I would say, no way I'm going to the physician, okay? I'm putting hydrated sodium bentonite clay on it, and I leave this on for 3-4 weeks. And I put more on every day, okay? And I leave this hand, and I won't do anything with this hand, okay? Maybe I'll put some kind of bandage over it or something to keep my hand resting and healing, okay? And just keep putting the bentonite clay on it, and I think you would not even see a scar afterwards, and it would heal up very, very quickly. So this way they cut even more into it. I think to make more money. I think that's what it is. Even in Germany, this is the case. They cut big cut in here that didn't need to be cut into it. It's completely ridiculous. Then they opened this all up, and I don't know what they poured some betadine into it, and then they sewed it up. So that just caused more problems. So that's why I'm saying, I'm so glad for all that information that I have now on holistic healing. I saved my own life several times already because of the information that I have. Okay, and I talked about this in the chat room. Nobody believed me. No one believed me. After Kenny died, our Great Dane, the Blue God, that was so hard on me. That was so hard on me that if I had not gotten the Papa Dog 2 months later, if I had not found the Papa Dog 2 months later, I would have gone to Malaysia, and there's no telling what would happen. I would have been killed, or I would have died from breast cancer. Okay, so what happened is we got the Papa Dog, and things calmed down. My brain calmed down. I felt a whole lot better. You could see that in my videos. But I had already developed tumors in both breasts, egg size, like hard, like steel tumors. And that's not good news when you feel something like this. And I don't do mammograms on myself. I don't go to any physician anymore. I haven't been in a very, very long time. I never wanted to do a mammogram. The gynecologist insisted on this in the past. I never had anything. So, but then when I found out about holistic healing, I knew that would be all that is. If you go to a physician, they give you a death sentence. They literally give you a death sentence. And that's what happened to 2 women. Actually 3 women. 2 women with breast cancer that were my friends that died because of a physician's death sentence. I give you this much to live. And they believe it. They believe it so much that they program themselves. They're like, okay, now this is, they accept this, sort of, you know. And Barbara had a different type of, some kind of hip cancer or something. And she also believed the physicians. And she died as well. And that's all infinitely sad and tragic. They died in their early 60s, you know. Should not have happened. So when we got the Papa, I don't know, it was like a month in or so after we got the Papa, when I realized, when I felt these lumps in my breasts. I don't know, I was massaging some oil onto my breasts, and suddenly I feel these hard lumps inside. And they were not that far in, they were more like towards the surface, where I could actually discern them in the material, because the rest of the materials are milk glands and fat, and that is very squishy and soft. Okay, so I could feel these really hard egg-shaped too, these big lumps, these big tumors. And I was not alarmed, believe it or not. I was not alarmed. I'm not clinging. That's another thing, is that helps tremendously if you don't cling to life, you know. If you're more fatalistic about it, you're like, okay, whatever, you know, whatever. But I knew I could heal this. I knew there's no way I'm going to go to a gynecologist and have a mammogram done or have them give me a death sentence. No way. So what I did is I packed on hydrated sodium bentonite clay. For 2 months I did this 3 times per day. Loads of it on both of my breasts. And lo and behold, the tumors dissolved. 100%, okay, in just 1 month. But I kept on doing it just to be on the safe side, so I did it for another month. I put the clay on just to be completely safe and clear and free and clear, and that I was. and it never came back. And because that experience was, first of all, the clay is powerhouse, okay? And then the Papa, of course, saved my life. Papa being there, that was my lifesaver. And then the empowerment. I can do it. The empowerment of holistic healing. It's like power, baby. You have control over your life, you know. You're not to the mercy of some ridiculous physician in the pharma industry. You can take charge of your own life, whatever you have, whatever problem. I have mental illness that I deal with that's very, very intense. If I went to the psychiatrist again, they would poison me to death. Okay. This had already been happening. That's why I turned to Dr. Schultz in LA, because the pharma drugs were poisoning my liver and my kidneys. I didn't have energy anymore. My urine was brown. Okay. I had no more energy, could not get up anymore out of bed. I knew that, and a physician wouldn't tell me anything. I already knew about Dr. Schultz, so I knew what I had to do. So I did Dr. Schultz's holistic cure packages. I took his tinctures. I drank his detox tea. I ate better. I ate more raw. Okay, drank a whole lot of tea, herbal tea. That alone fixed me up, and I quit all the pharma drugs. Okay, that's total power, total empowerment, and I recommend that to other people. Whatever you have, or if you are addicted to something, if you're an alcoholic, there are ways to wean yourself off this that are natural. Okay, not just gradually weaning yourself off from the toxins. No, you have to quit the toxins, cold turkey, and you have to go to the stuff that helps you heal. Like, there are plants out there that are absolutely amazing, like Pieris japonica and rhododendron, okay, and Camellia japonica. Those are my 3 absolute biggies that I recommend. Also Oregon grape. Look it up on how they look like. You can find them on Google. You'll see the photos. Okay, people have tons of photos of those plants. Those are just 4 plants out of billions of plants around the planet. Okay, in every region there are these are growing here in North America. Okay. But wherever you live, you know, you can. There are amazing plants out there that can heal you, that can cure you and wean you off any kind of drug or any kind of addiction, any kind of health problems. So trust into this. Okay, I'm gonna end the video now. Peace and love for all living beings. So now where is that mouse button thing? Arrow. Okay, take care.